What is up, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome back this February 21st. MLS is back. This is the first week MLS is back. The MLS tweeted about the emojis. The emojis are back. So, that gets things going. So we're here at the first 10 minutes. We're going to talk about the LA Galaxy. Let me introduce my guests. We have Damian Calhoun back with us, and we also got Mike Gray from El Trafico as well. Damian, I'm going to start with you. How you been, Damian?
But all right, just getting ready for an onslaught of soccer we have in Southern California, Galaxy. Um, Angel City FC is coming on board here next month, their first game. So I'm just getting ready for a long season of soccer here.
Yeah, man, you do a lot. You don't just cover just soccer. You're at the high school games. I see you as covering the city ball, basketball, football, the soccer games. You're everywhere, man. You're
Yeah,
definitely you're definitely killing it when it comes to like sports in Southern California.
you got to stay busy. That's my model.
I like that. I like that. Mike, how you doing? I see you don't got the hat this time. You're letting down the locks. Talk to me. How was your weekend?
Well, I finally got myself a decent haircut, so I'm excited. I'm good. I'm great. I'm wonderful. I'm excited about the season. I feel like the off season lasted for about 5 days, but despite that, I'm in a really good mood. I'm excited to see what's in store for the season. So buckle up and let's enjoy the ride.
Yeah, let's definitely enjoy the ride. I'm excited, man. Whenever it's this time back again. I know it's a shortened off season, but there's so much going on. A lot of moves for the LA Galaxy. Let's talk about this past weekend. Obviously, LA Galaxy tied against DC United. I know you guys were there. Talk to me about the preseason game, Damien. I know it's preseason, but it's a week away from their action. About a week away from their home opener. What did you like about the preseason game? What'd you see?
This was the first, well, maybe my second or third preseason game, and 2-2 draw. Even Vanny said it wasn't their best performance. They gave up both goals off of set pieces. He said they actually didn't practice set pieces during the week because they had so many guys. They played a midweek game and had so many guys in different different things. They did. He said they looked a bit disjointed, and I would agree with that. But they found Chicharito for 2 goals. They showed some flashes of getting forward. When Araujo came on in the second half, they sort of looked a little settled as he got on there. But you never. I mean, I don't know how much coaches really put into preseason. I mean, the Galaxy won 4 games. I guess it's better to win them than to lose them. Gives them confidence going into the season. But we'll see. We'll see if they can carry on. 4 wins in the preseason. If they can carry that on starting Sunday here.
Yeah, that's always been. You can only take so much of a preseason, right? Whether it's good or bad. Obviously, the big test is this Sunday. Um, Mike, what did you like? What did you take away from this preseason and from the game this past weekend?
Well, clearly, LA's transition play has improved greatly. Marquis Delgado, in hindsight, now we're starting to see how Sebastian Lletget wasn't really the answer versus Marquis Delgado, who he's almost like a metronome, how he's just one touch, is so automatic. So the offense is actually a bit more dynamic than it was last year. Kevin Cabral, he's on a completely different level this year. He's been scoring, he's been active. I remember at one point versus DC, he had a great play where he was just hustling and he actually blocked the goalkeeper, Bill Hamid, blocked his clearance, and it was actually a really fantastic play because the ball actually stayed in the field for a throw in. And then a few minutes later, he's gliding down the sidelines. He just sprays this perfect, cross, and it only took a well placed header to stop the defender from, letting it get to Grantier. So Cabal's on another level. Chicharito's obviously firing on all cylinders. I think that his 2020 form, that was the original. That was the first year of COVID. He had broke up with his fiance, his wife,
Yeah,
whatever.
we already know the story. We don't need to go that far back. We don't need to go
Well,
that
all
far
I'm
back.
saying is that Chicharito. I mean, it's just funny how bad that season was for him, but
Agree.
clearly, I think that he can produce an MLS. I don't think it's a question mark. It's just a matter of how whether he can stay fit for the entire season.
Yeah, that I would agree on that as well. I think he's proven last season. I don't think there's any questions about Chicharito's physical play, what he can produce on the field is how long he can actually stay on the field, which is going to be very interesting. I think very important for Chicharito and the LA Galaxy. Big game this weekend against NYCFC. You know, the MLS, the reigning MLS champions. It's going to be a big test because that's what I think. If you're the LA Galaxy, that's what you want. You want big tests in the beginning, and this is a big test. Going into this game, Damien, what are your thoughts about the LA Galaxy? What are your thoughts, obviously, against this matchup? Because we know it's not going to be easy. We know both sides are going to come out strong. But what are you liking to see this weekend from the LA Galaxy?
Well, if I'm the Galaxy as of Saturday, I would be a bit concerned because of the I guess the injuries that are lurking on the back line. Derek Williams hasn't played all preseason. I guess he was getting close to back to practice. I think started this week maybe. Sega Koulibaly went down with he fell on his shoulder. I think in the second half. And Greg said he didn't know if it was an elbow or shoulder injury, so they're not sure about his availability. Who else? Julian Araujo, his 45 minutes Saturday was his first 45 with the first team, really, because he was away with Mexico, and then Kevin Leerdam and Raheem Edwards. Sorry about that. Sort of took out those outside back spots while Julian was away. Jorge Villafana did play Saturday. The center back pairing was Koulibaly and Nick Dupuis. So we don't know what's going to happen there. As everybody know, Eric Zavaleta has been in. He was actually on the field, doing jogging, running. They haven't made a final decision on him yet, so we'll see what happens there. But the Galaxy could be, a little thin on the back line right now. I mean, it's early in the week and they got an extra day. They don't play until Sunday. So we'll keep all eyes on that, how that progresses going forward. And New York actually plays midweek. They're playing their Champions League game actually at the Bank of California.
At the Bank of California. That's so true. I forgot about that because so they're gonna have a tough test even before they play the LA Galaxy. I'm glad you made that point. Yeah, I'm very interested because they're gonna have. I'm not gonna say it's not even a warm up game. It's an actual game.
Yeah.
It's a maybe even bigger game. I think to them maybe bigger game than the season opener, but it's gonna be a great test for them. But yeah, you're also gonna wonder because they're gonna have to go all out on Wednesday because it's the CONCACAF, and then you only got so many days until Sunday. So I wonder how their legs will be by Sunday. That could potentially be a benefit for the LA Galaxy, or could be a disadvantage because NYCFC could have some rhythm.
And it's a home and home where they don't have a home game. I mean, they're playing their home game in LA, and then they got to travel, and so it's sort of like a weird situation they're in. So we'll see how they go through Wednesday and how they look on Sunday.
Yeah, the intricacies of the MLS when you play in a baseball stadium that I don't believe is the reason why they can't play in their own stadium. I think someone can fact check me is because CONCACAF, I believe, said that their stadium does not FIFA or CONCACAF regulations in the field or whatever. I think that's the thing. That's why they can't play there. And I think that's the thing. I think some people were throwing shade at Don Garber because I don't know. When you see that field on TV, to me, it's like it doesn't look like it. I've been to Yankee Stadium, but I've never been there for an NYCFC game. You figure they're able to get a soccer stadium for themselves. But look, that's another point for another thing. I'm going off on a tangent. Tony Toscano, he says, I'm a big fan of your work, Damien. So you got a fan in here, Damien.
Got one. Yeah.
You got one. There you go. You got to start somewhere, right?
There you go.
Many.
Yeah, Mike, let's talk about obviously the expectations for the year for the LA Galaxy. You've been covering this team a lot. If I just ask you that, what automatically comes to your head when you talk about expectations for 2022 LA Galaxy?
Playoffs. I mean, I know that might be a bit of a plain vanilla answer, but if you look at the West and you look at the standings, with maybe the exception of Sporting Kansas City, who lost Alan Pulido, their number 9, to an injury. He's out all year. They already replaced him, by the way. But with the exception of him, I don't see any teams in the West dropping off. And you have to remember, Nashville is in the East, or excuse me, they're in the West this year. So it's going to be tough. I think that they need to make the playoffs just sort of as a baseline. And then also what's very interesting is this is in many ways a last hurrah. This is going to be Chris Klein's last year of his contract, Dan Beckerman's last year of his contract. They need this project to continue, or else everything's just gonna be like thrown away, and they're gonna rebuild with some new president, some new general manager, et cetera, et cetera. It's funny. I think about Julian Araujo, and there's been this debate. Is he going to be sold? Is he waiting till the summer? I don't think that the Galaxy are thinking that far ahead, because, all right, say you're going to sell Julian Araujo in the summer. You would replace him ideally with a U22 initiative player. Between Greg Vanney, Chris Klein, and Jovan Krosky, do you guys honestly think that they have a U22 player lined up, or do they think they have an adequate replacement? I think that, with Araujo, everything I've heard says that they're not entertaining offers, but, and this is just a theory that I'm throwing out there, but I think that they have no plan to get rid of him before the summer, and it's just going to be, they're just going to hold on to him to the end of the year and just see what happens. So, yeah, I do think that with the Galaxy, they need this year to count. They don't need to win MLS Cup, but they need to make the playoffs. They need their French players to perform, and in terms of continuity, it's been adequate. Kevin Cabal's obviously done great. Sega Coulibaly has obviously been a giant question mark. And then we have players like Raveloson and Derek Williams. The jury's still out on how much of an impact they're going to have with this team. So, yeah, I know it's like I said, it's kind of a boring answer, but I don't think that they're going to win MLS Cup. I do think that they need to have some sort of continuity and some sort of hope going into year 3 that, can Vanney get the job done? If they don't make the playoffs this year, I don't see that project continuing. But
I mean, yeah, I think you make an interesting point on the last hurrah. I mean, not just the front office names, but also the players, right? Chicharito, you don't know what's going to happen after this season, right? He's come on. I think he's talked about, wanting to win a championship, and obviously he's mentioned that this year as well. And I think the big thing for them, right, is like even though they're in the second year with Greg Vanney, obviously this team's more mature. Some of the pieces they've added from what we've seen in preseasons looks like, okay, they're going to be bigger assets in this 2022 season. But I also wonder, right, because it's a playoffs, you have to make the playoffs, right? I think that's automatic. Should be automatic. But when you have these type of big names, Douglas Costa, Chicharito, and obviously we expect Cabral to play like he's been playing the preseason. I think they have to make a deep run, right? Like, and you're right. Look, the Western Conference is pretty stacked. You even had Nashville there, but I don't think anything short of a long postseason run. And also, I think not just that, they got to finish somewhere top 4, top 5, because top 4 you get the home field advantage, and I think a lot of the intricacies there. Damien, I'm gonna ask you, what are your expectations from the LA Galaxy as of today?
Oof, man, I hate making predictions ahead of a season because this league is so unpredictable. I think the key for them will be consistency. Can they find it throughout the year? You're not going to win every game, we know that. But last year's team, I'm not sure how many draws they finished with, but there were a time where they were just getting they were either win or lost for like maybe, I don't know, 2 months there, nothing but wins and losses. And a lot's going to depend on Cabral, Douglas Costa. Hopefully he has his visa straightened out for Sunday, but we'll see about that. And Vanney said it like at least 2 or 3 times this preseason. If they defend, they're going to be a good team. Now that goes into, you look at the back line and what's going on right now. So we'll see. If they defend, they will be a good team. But that's a big if, as we've seen the last couple of years. They just so many goals, and it's only so much that Bond can do back there when teams are getting, the teams are just getting free run of the midfield and they're just firing off shots there. So the beginning of the season, a work in progress. I still think they're missing something in the midfield, and then we'll see how the season progresses.
But what would you say? Is it a deep run of playoff? Is it making to the MLS Cup? What would you say now? Knowing what we know now, look, there's no right or wrong answer, but this is what we do the
I
early
think
season.
I thought they were a playoff team last year. So they,
I think we all did. I think we all did.
yeah,
That we weren't wrong.
Exactly,
We
exactly.
all were, especially
yeah.
how
I
Harper
think
started.
this is if they can show up the back line, whatever pieces come in probably in the summer, I think this is a playoff team. If Chicharito is we talked to him a couple of days ago through through the league, and he seems to be in a great state of mind. He said they're motivated off that loss last year, the last game of the year when they fell out of the playoffs on the last game of the year. So if all that comes together, I think this is a playoff team.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think I'll be a little bit more aggressive. I think I want them to make a deep playoff run, whatever that means. They got to do something serious.
Yeah, but
Because
like Mike said, the West is so difficult, man. Throwing Nashville in there, it's gonna be.
but if they want to be a deep championship team, they got to prove it this year, right? There's no. I think to me, there's no when you have this type of big names, right? Regardless of what their age, I think, and a head coach as well that is very well respected. Has won an MLS Cup. I don't think that's far off. I think winning an MLS Cup and saying that as an expectation, I think that's a whole nother story because we got to see them, right? I think so many things go into play. You got to be healthy. You gotta, luck has to be in your. Also, some type of luck has to be in your side. Your players don't get injured. The back line, right? Everything kind of has to fall into place. But we'll see. I think Mike, you had something else you wanted to add.
Yeah, I had one tangent I wanted to go on. We keep talking about LA and it's the Galaxy and this big club and 5 stars, and you know, the Galaxy spent just over $20 million on payroll last year, the highest team in the league, right? And that was
Another
before
point.
they signed Douglas Costa, so you know that's only going to go up. If you look at the Galaxy's value of their players on transfer market, they're eighth in the league. So you're spending the most money, more than any other team in the league, and you go to transfer market, and we're eighth. So what does that tell you? That tells you there's a trend. That tells you that the spending isn't. They're not getting good value for money, and so Chris Klein and Jovan Krosky, the only complaints, more than anything else, when I hear about Vanny complaining, it's about the players that he bought. But it's not realistic for him to be a manager and a GM. That responsibility has to fall on somebody. And at the end of the day, it falls on Chris Klein and Jovan Krosky. And again, the numbers speak for themselves. They have the eighth best team in the league in terms of how everyone else in the world values the players on the Galaxy. So we have to take the expectations of LA and 5 stars and original LA team and all that, and we have to temper them with reality, which is that until Chris Klein and Jovan Krosky are out of that office, I don't think the Galaxy are going to be able to claim that they have an elite team or an elite club in terms of bringing in players and scouting and etc.
So you see this more as a front office kind of dilemma, kind of long term that's been going on is kind of what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing.
Well, yeah, but I do appreciate that Vanny's done a good job of. I mean, Chicharito wasn't his guy, but he's managed to take a pass regime, which was Chicharito, his idea of acquiring what he considered was undervalued French talent with all these players, and he's making it work. And I think that speaks to Greg Vanny's coaching ability. I think that again. I think a lesser coach would struggle mightily with the pieces that he has. I think that Greg Vanny has proven himself with his record in the past. But again, in the past, he also happened to have Tim Bezpajenko, who goes to Columbus, wins the title with them as their GM. So,
Look, I'm agreeing with everything you're saying. That's why I feel the Dennis to close him moving on. But I also think Greg Vanny wanted this role. He wanted both roles, So I agree with your point, but I think Greg Vanny is that ambitious, and he wanted full control to actually build the type of team he wants. And look, if the LA Galaxy do great, this is on Greg Vanny, right? You can praise some of the front office, but if Greg Vanny and the LA Galaxy do poorly, then we look at Greg Vanny and somewhat of the front office, right? Because this is what Greg Vanny wants, and I think he's bringing in the players he wants. Douglas Costa. I think to me it's a surprise, but like if he's able to stay healthy, it's a high risk, high reward type of player. And I think he's swinging for the fences because he has some type of foundation that he built last year. Now to him, Douglas Costa may be the missing piece, and I just want to see how it all plays out because it's because of how ambitious and everything he's talked about. Most of the that I think with Greg Vandy, the idea is right. Now it's like, can the players and everything produce, right? I think last season there maybe a couple games you could put on Greg Vandy, but he's also very what's the word? He's very transparent when things go on. You never when I listen to the press conference, I never feel like, oh, okay, he wasn't clear about that or anything like that. I do want to get into one more comment. Francisco Felix says, he said, yes, the West is hard, but Galaxy has a team to win something. On paper, this team is so good, but we have to see it on the pitch. Yeah, I would agree on that. I want to talk about expectations, individual expectations. Damien, I'm gonna start with you. Let's talk about Chicharito. When we talk about Chicharito, right? We know the type of season he had last year. We know how last year he said he had a debt to pay to the other Galaxy fans and everything. I think he paid off that debt. Obviously, the next step is winning a championship, and that, like we've been talking about, that's a whole nother thing to do. But I think what a player like Chicharito and what he was able to do last year, I think it was very impressive. And you could only imagine what Chicharito would have been able to do with the full season if he was healthy. But let's talk about expectations. I think he scored 15, 16 goals, 17 goals. I forgot the number. Maybe the chat people can correct me unless you guys know it. But what would you put if you had to put a number for Chicharito's goals this season? If let's say he's healthy, let's be hypothetical. He's healthy all year. What are your goals for Chicharito this season?
If he's healthy all year, you're looking at 17, 20 probably, and contending for a golden boot. And he's always said that if he doesn't score but the team wins and wins the championship, he's perfectly fine with that. But I'm pretty sure he would like some goals as well. So I mean, if he stays healthy, you could probably chalk him up for 15, 17, maybe 20.
I think that's fair enough. Mike, what are your thoughts? What expectation for goals for Chicharito this season?
Well, like you said, he delivered last season. I forgot the exact number, but
I think the chat's saying 17.
17. You would think that having Costa would maybe ease some of the scoring burden off Chicharito, but it's interesting. What you might have happen instead is he might be sort of a multiplier where Costa all of a sudden unlocks the attack, and all of a sudden the Galaxy are scoring goals from all over the place. So considering that he didn't have a partner last year, I think he could do 20.
I like that number. I like 20.
I gotta be a little ambitious.
Say that again.
I gotta be a little ambitious.
Yeah. Look, he has to score more than last year, and I don't. And for Chicharito, I can see he can do 20 if he's able to stay healthy. He has Douglas Costa. I'm assuming Douglas Costa will be able to play sometime. We don't know the visa stuff. Maybe we'll find out this week if he'll be available this weekend. But we're assuming Douglas Costa can be available for majority of the season if he's healthy. And I think if they want to make that deep run, I would say 20 over 20 goals. I think would be successful individually for Chicharito, and I think we'd also assume if he's scoring 20 goals, golden boot. You're also talking about maybe MVP, and you're also talking about maybe top 4 spot for Chicharito, and I think that is not too far from what we've seen. Even Francisco says if Douglas does his job, we will see Chicharito score 20, 25. Yeah, because I see Douglas assisting somewhere. We haven't been able to see him. I know Greg Vanny had talked about he may play the 10. He's going to play on the wing. So it's interesting to see all that, how that will be played out. I want to talk about another player because we got to talk about these expectations. Another player that I'm very interested to see is Kevin Cabral. Damien, we've seen magical things, great things from Kevin Cabral this preseason. What are your expectations goals wise and assists for Cabral? Because we've seen him score. I know it's preseason. I know it's kind of we don't want to get too excited over preseason, and I feel he's a player that a lot of fans are expecting a lot of things for him. But what number would you put for him on the goals and assists?
Well, if you look at last year, if he converts all his chances he had last year, he probably finished that season with maybe 10 or 12 goals. This preseason, he's looked more comfortable in everything. I think he had like maybe three or four goals so far in the preseason. So his comfort level, he seems to be there. So maybe you can look at him to be, maybe he can reach 10 goals. Maybe he can reach 5 or 6 assists. I'm just looking forward to seeing how it all plays out. If it's, Costa's there, how does that change Cabral's game and, Granzier and all these guys who goes to the bench? Then you got Dejan Joveljic is on the bench as well. So there are a lot more pieces, attacking pieces this year. Just looking forward to seeing how it all plays out, and if that does unlock Cabral for a big year, or or Granzier or guys like that. So just looking forward to seeing how it all plays out.
Yeah, I would agree. Mike, quickly, because I want to go through a couple guys. What number this is your guy, Kevin Cabral. How many goals and assists?
Kevin Cabral scored the quietest 5 goals last season as a rookie who was apparently a wet noodle. So he was a few bounces, a few inches away from 7 or 8 goals. So I want to see 15 actions. And what I mean by actions is, that's minimum. What I really want to see is 20 actions. And what I mean by that is something like 8 or 9 goals, 9 or 10 assists, just some combination of like 15 to 20 goal actions. Goals are important, but where he's really going to thrive is as a winger who's just devastating in transition. So I see him piling up the assists pretty quickly. The goals, if he's not under pressure to score, I could see him. I could see him doing double-digit goals too, but let's not get too crazy. So, all right, 15 goal actions total. That's my thing.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I would say 10 goals minimum. He's a DP. He's young. He's a DP. You can't go short on him. They're paying him a lot. They're paying him, 1.2. I forgot what the number is. Over $1 million. I know that for sure. I would say 10 goals. I think I'm gonna be right to 10 goals, 5 assists, 6 assists. Because that is very feasible if he plays the way he plays this preseason. Doesn't seem like he has that he seems more comfortable from what I've seen this preseason. He seems more comfortable. He understands the offense, understands Chicharito, understands what he needs to do. And if he can finish, 10 goals, 5 assists, 6 assists, whatever you name it. But I wouldn't be mad if it was 10 assists and like 8 goals or something like that. But I think it's very feasible. Another player I want to talk about is the guy behind the bench, behind the goal, in front of the goal, Jonathan Bond. We know he's a big piece for the LA Galaxy. We know he can produce pretty big. But let's talk about shutouts. How many shutouts would you expect from Jonathan Bond? Shutouts, saves. All right, let's do shutouts because I think shutouts. There's something he can potentially control. But Damien, what would you put on Jonathan Bond?
Woo, man, shutouts with that back line. Yeah, I mean, it all starts with the back line, right?
Yeah,
it's tough to put a number on it, but if they're able to run out a 4 that's consistently throughout the season, instead of guys moving in and out of the lineup, then maybe you can see them contend for most shutouts in the league. But that's one thing that they really couldn't do last year, was just shut it. Get up a goal, get up 2 goals, and you're thinking, okay, this game is over because they're going to shut them down. So I don't know if they can do that this year early, but we'll see. Putting a number on his shutouts, oh man, I don't even want to guess.
Look, that's fair enough. I would agree with you. I think he has to be there top of the list. Look, but if the back line is not helping him, then there's only so much we could actually put on Bond, and that number is not really going to tell the whole story. Because there was a couple games that Bond just saved him, and you're like, how he made that save. Mike, what about you? Would you put a number, or can you put a number, or does Bond has to be at the top of the list of no shutouts in the league?
Well, I like Damien choosing not to select a number because I think that's smart. I didn't know that was an option, but let me see. Yeah, numbers are a bit useless in this scenario. I think the Galaxy would be lucky to get 8 shutouts this year with Bond, but I think that's a number for him to shoot for, and then we'll go from there. But the thing with Bond is very interesting. He showed up to LA. He was very motivated, and he was just a rock. You couldn't get anything past him those first 7 or 8 games. Maybe that was because he was, if you guys remember, he had a hell of a lot of shots. He was getting just hammered some days. And when you're a keeper and you have shots being hit at you consistently, it's a lot easier to get into a rhythm and to have a good game. And so maybe it was that. Maybe it was the fact that, he came and, like I said, he was motivated. But somewhere along the line, that form dropped and he just kind of regressed to the mean. And just throwing this out there because I know both you guys are sports buffs, but Larry Bird, I know that's a reach, but Larry Bird in his biography, he talked about how LA in a way is a difficult place for an athlete because there's so much going on. It's not like some places like say like Ohio or there's some cities where the sports team, that's what's going on, and then LA there's so much to do, and when he came here he wasn't posting stuff on social media.
Are you worried he's getting a little distracted? Is that what I'm hearing? You think it may be distracted with the city?
No, because that would be disrespectful. I think sometimes the lifestyle has a way of taking athletes, and Larry, he also pointed out like how fans, they just wouldn't get into games till the playoffs, and all of a sudden LA fans would be the best fans around. So, but yeah, so you have athletes who show up in LA and they're motivated at first, and then they kind of drop off. And I'm not saying that that's him, but what I do want to know is I want to know how his form went from being so electric to, like I said, he regressed to the mean. And what
I think if I can,
I bring that up because
I think
really
it has to be the back line. I think that might have been the back line. There's only so much he could do, and he can't save everything. I just don't see the outside the life. I think it's outside the life because he seems very focused on the season, unless we find something out this season. But I just don't see that with Jonathan Bond. I think he is very motivated. He understands his role and everything he needs to do for the LA Galaxy. I do want to finish up here with Douglas Costa because he's a third DP. We don't know when he's going to be available for the LA Galaxy. We don't know. Maybe I hope we find out this weekend when he's available. But I feel like we do have to put a number on this one, Damien. So I'm gonna put you on the spot. I know we haven't seen him, but we have to put a number on him. How many goals and assists for Douglas Costa? Douglas Costa that we've not seen in the preseason. So there's no right or wrong number.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's been, in some sort of training situation. I'm always, I always say he's only 31, but you look at that 31, he's been playing since he was probably maybe 17 or 18, probably. If he gets here and can settle right in for DP, man, what's a good number? 8 and 8.
It's his first year in the league.
That's fair. 8 and 8, but look, he is a professional. He's played at Bayern, Juventus.
Yeah, but that first year, MLS is not an easy league at all. I mean, it's like,
agree.
Unless you're Zlatan to come over and just
yeah, I don't expect Zlatan numbers. I think Zlatan is
take
the unicorn
over at the beginning, yeah. But I don't know, 6 and 7 probably. I'll go down and go 6 and 5 or something like that.
6 goals and 5 assists.
Yeah, I mean I guess.
That's fair. I know I'm putting you guys on the spot, but this is what we have to do for preseason. Mike, what are your thoughts? How many goals and assists this season for Douglas Costa?
I'm with Damien. First year in the league, got to get used to the travel and all the intricacies of the league. I think he might end up with Cabral numbers. It's maybe, yeah. He's such a question mark. He could do 10 goals, 5 assists, 5 goals, 10 assists. I wouldn't be surprised either way. I think it's more about the actions in terms of 15 total actions. But with Cabral, it was 15. He's the DP. He's the big cheese. He's got to deliver. I'm going to go with 20.
20 actions, there's 10 goals or either 10 assists. I like that. That is bold. I'm gonna say like 5 or 6 goals because he's not known as a goal scorer. Maybe that could change. And I'm gonna say 12 assists. I think that's fair. I think you got a player like Chicharito. You have Jovic who will come off the bench. You have Cabral if Cabral plays. So I'll say that 5 goals and 12 assists. Um, let's finish off with this. With the LA Galaxy, there's so many things going on. There's so much uh pressure and everything with them. But I think if this is the LA Galaxy team that they expect to be, I think it's really going to come down to Douglas Costa, how far they really go, and if he's able to stay healthy. Damien, what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, you're going to need production out of your DPS. That's something they didn't get last year. Well, from all your DPS, they're going to need that. And like I said, they're missing. There's something missing in the midfield. Maybe that's a summer move. There's still pieces that I think they can still fit into the lineup that is sort of even it out a little bit. And just defensively, what's going to happen on the back line? I mean, Koulibaly hasn't. I mean, he was another guy who sort of came on strong early on, and then he sort of hit a wall, or just like his form sort of dipped greatly last year. Villafaña, if he's healthy, he was a rock back there until he got hurt last year. Leerdam and Edwards are good pieces. I mean, to fill in, and then you have Araujo, and then Nick Dupuis, Derek Williams. Can they stay healthy? And keep an eye on Jalen O'Neal. He's the young guy, 17, 18 years old. If maybe he starts this Sunday, I don't know. Greg didn't want to. He said he thinks he's a starter. He knows he's a starter, but he wants to do it on his timeline and not throwing him out there. But maybe he just has to throw him out there. I mean, he's one of the only healthy center backs out there. So keep an eye on him and when does he get his shot on the field this season.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Look, guys, I think that's all the time we have. Damien, thank you for being on. Mike, thank you for being on. Guys, everybody in the comment, thank you guys for tuning in. We're gonna take a quick break and then we'll go back. We'll switch over to the LAFC side. Back. We're talking to LAFC. JP, how you doing, my man? How was your week?
It's good. It's good. Week just started. Played our first game of the season on Saturday. We got a win, so happy.
Your intramural squad, is that what you're referring to?
No, the club team at CSUN.
You gotta let the people know, man. Don't confuse them with LAFC.
Okay. Yeah, I played for the club team at CSUN, so we beat Channel Islands 3-1, and I was happy.
Hey, there we go. Hey, there we go. No 6-1 like LAFC. You guys didn't score a touchdown like LAFC did?
No, I checked my phone after and I saw that. I was like, whoa. LAFC really went ham on the last game of the season, which I was happy about too.
Yeah, because that's one thing that we were missing, right? Was the goals to them, and I think they hurt everybody. They scored 6. Unfortunately, unless you were there, nobody else saw it. So, and it was also preseason, so I think a lot of people I think are excited. But how much could you put into that? I don't think DC United is that strong of a team, but nevertheless, you got the points, you got the goals. Did they play? Who did they play?
They played the Red Bulls.
The Red Bulls. I'm confused.
Yeah, they lost to DC though.
Yeah, but like I think a lot of that is good to see. But yeah, let's talk about LAFC. We know that there's so much going into this season. And we also know they got the new swagger. We got to talk about the jersey. And now that you see it there, you see Franco Escobar. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts now? Because I know before you weren't as high. What are your thoughts now that you saw it? They did the promotion. What are your thoughts overall on the new LFC jersey?
if they play well, then flex makes sense because you're flexing on these other teams. But if they don't play well, then I'm still on that flex kills the uniform for me. But if you overlook the big sponsor, it looks nice on the players. It's the gold accents really pop out. They're really trying to make it a nice kit. I like it. It's growing on me more and more. I just gotta wait a bit to purchase it this season, but yeah, the gold really stands out, and I like it.
Yeah, I think now the authentic always looks a lot better, obviously, because it's the authentic. But yeah, I think the flex is a little too big, but I think it looks smooth. I think the accents looks pretty smooth. But you're right. If they win, then that flex sign, the flex logo is going to be even better. But obviously, if they're struggling, it's going to be a little difficult. I
Yeah.
have you changed your mind? Are you interested of buying this on this jersey or no?
I think I have to see it in person at
He said,
HQ.
you got to see it in person now.
Yeah,
It's changed. The pictures
yeah.
don't do it justice. Then
It does in the sense that I won't give it criticism, but me going out there and wasting my money on it, investing my money on it, no, I gotta see it in person.
gotcha. Look, that's fair enough. Look, anytime you spent over $100 or something, it's never anything cheap. But I think maybe we'll see. We'll see if the season or the fans win it this season. We'll change your mind or anything like that. We got to talk about the newest signing too, Daniel Henry. I
Yeah,
think that's how you say
Tonio
it.
Henry. Yeah.
The defender, Canadian player. What are your thoughts on this signing? He's going to use the international spot that they just got, I think, from Montreal.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on this signing and them adding him?
I think it's a great move. You get him on a free because he was a free agent, so you don't really waste any time or gam on him. And he finally addresses the final position on the field where the team really needed another piece in that center back. Especially after seeing just 45 minutes of Murillo, you kind of got the sense that it still wasn't fully the back line fully wasn't safe or secure. Now with Daniel Henry, who has international experience with Canada, who played in their last international window, and Canada is arguably the best team in CONCACAF right now. It's not like he's out. He's not out of shape. He's out. Yeah, he's not out of shape. He's game fit. He's been playing in important matches. So it's not a guy who you're really gonna have to give a lot of time to adapt. I think he should be ready, by maybe the week 2 or week 3 to fully, throw in there if you really trust in him. But I think it's depth, and I think it's much needed, and I think the team and the fans can be assured that JT did a good job in getting all the pieces in the back line.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think this was the missing piece, and I think now, I think you got to start him over Murillo. I think I see more of a Murillo Ibiaga. I see Murillo coming off the bench scenario. I don't think you got to get rid of him. I think he could be a great piece off the bench, but I just don't think Murillo. I've said this last season. Unfortunately, because of so many of the mishaps, so many things that they've caught, he's been able to cost LAFC a goal. I just don't think is a starter. But I do think he can still help this LAFC team coming off the bench or someone comes off for injury, and also puts a little bit more pressure on Murillo to be better. I think if you bench Murillo, you put more pressure on him to get better in this competition. There, he doesn't have that secure spot, and I really like this move. Now we just got to see it all because we've only seen 45 minutes. We didn't see any of the preseason in Palm Springs, Coachella, or Goldchella. But yeah, I think, and everything you mentioned about him playing with the Canadian national team, they are the best team in CONCACAF. I'm not going to argue with that. There's also a lot of things too that LAFC does that's really interesting. They're gonna come out with a new theme song. Looks like it's gonna be Kid Ink. Let me see if I get this right. Kid Ink, which is obviously a rapper, DJ Flick, and Brio. I don't know the other two. What are your thoughts on this? On a new theme song for 2022?
Apparently, they the kit release they were playing it. I wasn't able to go. I haven't really had a chance to fully submerge myself in the beats, but it's good. I think they're really trying to push this fifth year strong rebrand, not a rebrand, but this marketing scheme that they have, and the new song definitely helps along with a new uniform and basically half of a new roster. So I think it's a good change. Maybe not needed, but a new theme song or a new song isn't never hurts.
Yeah, LAFC is very good at doing things within the community or doing the crossover within. We'll see how much. I think this is cool if you're a fan. Obviously, no way it helps the team on the field, but I think that's a good way um, for in order to be connect with the community, right? I think LAFC does a solid job like that, and you have these collabs and stuff. Um, now I've seen people in the comments just saw Be Real and Eagle Rock once. Yeah, and it's people they know. I know Kid Ink. I'm not too familiar with Be Real and DJ Flick, but yeah, I think I'm very interested to see how it sounds. I know they played a little snippet, and it's always that's what LAFC is known for. And we'll see how it comes out. It has to be hot. It has to connect with the community, and I think it will do that. But big game this Saturday. It's at 12:30. Against the Colorado Rapids, who did a solid. I think they were the number one team
They were
in the
number
West.
one.
In the
Yeah,
West, right? They finished
yeah.
number one. Um, Mark Anthony K is coming back. There's a couple storylines, right? Mark Anthony K is coming back to the bank. I know last time he tweeted poetic justice, which is kind of interesting. But we also got on this side, Kellen Costa versus
Yeah.
the Rapids organization. So what are your thoughts on this big matchup this Saturday season opener?
I think it's the headline should be Dolo's first game. I think all the pressure should be on him, or all the eyes should be on him. Better said, because it's his first real official game as head coach, and he's been preparing this team all off season, and I think we need to see a team that has an idea, that looks cohesive, and that Dolo makes the right subs at the right times and can manage, a game, even though it's just his first one. It doesn't mean it's going to be a good or bad season, regardless of the result. But I think I'll be watching Dolo closely because he's the most questionable, because we haven't seen him on a first team yet.
Yeah, I think you're right when you mentioned that because everything else, every player that's coming back or every player that's played in MLS, the big question mark is Steve Cherundolo. Yeah, and I'm very interested to see how he handles. I don't think he's when I hear him talking and all that, I don't sense that he's necessarily intimidated by the by
Yeah.
the by the by that, but I think it's just so new that we have so little information, right? That this is his first time real coaching. Very interested to see what will happen when they go down. And I think even Carlos Vela talked about that on an interview around Football Americas. But yeah, I want to play a video. It's Carlos Vela on Football Americas with Hercules Gomez and Sebastian Salazar, and they ask him about Bob Bradley. I'll play like a minute or so people can watch and hear it.
No Bob Bradley. He goes to Toronto FC. How does that change things for the team and also for you? Because at one point, Bob Bradley, he likened you to Lionel Messi.
Yeah, of course, it will be a big move because we start with Bob. He created a lot of the things we have already. But I think we need a new air fresh. We are trying to improve after a bad year. We have a lot to show. We want to be in the top of the league. We want to win the champion. So we have to work hard. We have to change the way like we played the last year or the result we had the last year. So we have to work a lot. We have a lot of things to do, but always with a good mentality. I'm really focused on be better, be healthy, help my team, be on the field, making good things for fans, for everybody. So,
But I want to get your thoughts on your new manager, Steve Cherundolo. What's he like, and what have your early conversations been like?
well, he's really a really cool guy. He's really easy to talk. He's always chilling with a good talk, with good mentality, trying to be positive. So I like the way he is. I think it's a little bit like me. So we had a good connection. So I think we can do a great things together.
I just want to follow up on Steve Cherundolo. You said he's like you. Steve Cherundolo was my teammate. He was one of the most outgoing and funny guys on the team. What's he like as a coach? I'm very interested in to know what's he like as a coach.
Well, it's really early to say because we are just starting preseason. We don't have many trainings or games because you know how it's football. If you start the games, you play, you win, Steve will be the best coach in the history. So we have to give it time, but I think the approach is really good. The start is doing well, so I'm excited.
So we got what he said about Bob Bradley. It was time to get a fresh breath, a new fresh breath of. I'm even messing up. He messed me up. New fresh breath of air. I'm assuming that's what he meant. And then he talks about Steve Cherundolo. He likes him. He says he's kind of like me. But you got to give it time. Gotta learn. What are your thoughts when you hear Carlos Vela say that about Bob Bradley and Steve Cherundolo?
Um, I think he wanted a change from Bob. I think Bob is very on you 100% of the time at practice, and maybe some players just tune out of it or just want something else. And I think Steve is that breath of fresh air. Steve said it multiple times. He wants practice players to laugh at his practice. So I think it's a different approach to the same similar philosophy. So I think that's what Vela likes. I think Vela's a laid back guy, likes to be funny in his own way, and I think that's how him and Steve connect. But like he said, he hasn't seen Steve under pressure, so he can't really comment. And I think that's what we all are waiting to see. Maybe not week one because it's the first game, but down the season, when the pressure's on him, how is he going to react? And that's I think what Vela and the fans are waiting for.
Yeah, no, I like that he says that because no one knows that. No one, even if Carlos Vela doesn't even know. I think this was a week ago. The interview it was a week ago. So Carlos Vela doesn't know that. We're all gonna find out because I think that's what you and I we've been talking these last few weeks. What does a Steve Cherundolo look when he's down 1-0 or he's down 3-2 or whatever? What changes? What does he do? Who does he sub in and stuff like that? And I think when you have a new coach that gives you this second win that Vela really wanted, and I think I think last year Vela also talks about how disappointing the season was. I think you definitely needed a different change from Bob, and Bob wasn't able to give him that change. Even though he had built such a solid foundation, I think with Steve Cherundolo, he gives you that other fresher breath air. But there's the question mark: can he have that foundation? Does he have the what's the word
Experience.
experience? Or like we know he has the coaching experience at the youth level, but not the coaching experience at the
The senior
the
level.
senior level. And I think that's the biggest question, right? What's going to happen? He can have great success, but I think until we see it, I don't expect him to have solid success right away. I think Colorado is going to be a very tough team, but I think also Steve Cherundolo has great players that he could, if he's able to put them in the right places, he's able to make the subs in the right places at the right times, and adjust the game. I think that's where we're going to learn a lot from Steve Cherundolo, or we're going to ask some questions about Steve Cherundolo. But to me, it's a wait and see approach because all the moves they've made is what I think everybody expected to made. Outside of getting the third DP, because I don't think the third DP situation is going to happen. But all the moves they made this season, it tells me that they learned from the previous mistakes this past season. Let's talk about the third DP. There is reports out of I think Turkey that Diego Rossi is apparently going to stay at Fenerbahce. They're going to buy him. Nothing has been confirmed. What are your thoughts on that?
The reports is Fenerbahce bought him, but regardless of what Fenerbahce does after, that's up to them. But LAFC are getting that cash from Fenerbahce, and I think that's what is reported. And I think if that goes through, that's what matters because I think LAFC is waiting for some influx of cash before they go out and spend it on the DP. They want to make sure they have money in the bank and before they go out and spend, which is I think a smart move. And I think you just have to. I think it's a smart move because you wait and see half the season what the team really needs, If somebody gets injured and can't return at the end of the season, you fill in the DP slot there. So I think it's smart, and I think we should all be patient because the other acquisitions the team got make the team solid enough to overlook that their DP into the summer.
Yeah, it is definitely looking that way. That they're gonna have the 30p in the summertime. Because I don't even if they sell them, like who are you gonna bring in right now with what 6 days, 7 days, whenever
Yeah.
the game, it's this Saturday. So who are you gonna bring in within 6 days? And I think it I think it would be better if they got their next EP as soon as possible. But I think it's always hard when you're in the summertime
Mhm.
and you bring in a DP and you try to have him help you out. I think it just gets interesting. We'll see how this plays out. I just don't. I think a lot of fans would be upset if the third DP is what they were missing the whole season, and I just hope that's not the case because they have such a solid team. But if it is that way, then I think there's going to be questions asked about loaning DPS in the future and all that stuff because it makes it so interesting. But I don't think with them starting the season without a third DP is that big of an issue because of the other weapons they currently have. Yeah, and I think it'd be great if Fenerbahce ends up buying Diego Rossi because Diego Rossi has closed the chapter, LAFC chapter. Because I know there was also reports that he was going to go to Brazil, whatever, Flamengo, I believe was the team, and all
Yeah.
these different things. So we'll see what that happens. I think we just all want a final confirmation to see if it's official, and then what does LAFC do moving forward. All right, we got to talk about expectations for the year. JP, 2022 is a big year for LAFC. It's a first year coach, so I think that's gonna be it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be difficult. So, your thoughts right now? What are your expectations for LAFC in 2022?
I expect to make the playoffs, and I expect a top four finish. That's what I think this roster has been constructed to do. I think it's deep enough, but the biggest question mark lies in Steve, because the MLS is not an easy league where a coach can just come in the first season and get instant success. And he's never even played in the league, so it's not like he can transfer his knowledge as a player in the league to being a coach. I'm not going to say he doesn't know anything about MLS, but we've seen it time and time again from these international coaches that they don't get success immediately coming into MLS. Um, but the roster itself, with all the MLS vets who can help Steve because they know the situations the team might be going through, I think it's enough to get them, the fourth seed. But I expect a lot of players to step up, and because it's a World Cup year, a lot of players are going to want that World Cup spot. So if they don't play for LAFC, they're going to play for that national team spot, and I think it'll end up helping the team regardless.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, except him being an international coach. I don't. I understand he came from Germany and he has experience there. I don't really see him as like international coach like we've had in the past, like the MLS has had in the past. Because he's American and I think he understands the MLS. He understands that, and I think that's where he has. I think that's where Steve Shono has an edge on other international coaches because one, he's American, he understands the MLS, and he's also obviously his record with the Las Vegas Lights was not great, obviously, but I think he has a knowledge on how the league operates, and I think whether it's him or John Thornton making these offseason moves, we're seeing the moves that I think we expected of them last year, and I think he's not. I think he really understands the league. Is what it's why my assumption as of right now. I don't think he's coming off the European coaches or the South American mentality where it's like, oh wait, what do you mean I can't bring this player in right now, or all these different things, like you're right. Like if you're a coach from Liga MX, you're used to bring any, or you're a coach from Europe, you can essentially bring any player you want as long as the money's met and everything all like that. Here you have the DPS, TAM, and all these things like that.
Mhm.
He's had like somewhat of a year with the Las Vegas Lights to understand if he didn't already know the MLS. So I think, and also him playing for the U.S. national team, he's had to know about the MLS. So I think he has that edge on that. But I just think the question, like we go back to, is that experience of knowing what to do. I think that may be that's going to be the most interesting part to see. But I don't know if yeah, I don't think his lack of MLS is necessarily a thing I see him. Let's talk about Carlos Vela's goals in games played for the season because I think that's a very big thing for LAFC, because if they're gonna go far this season, they're gonna need Carlos Vela at the top, right? And as of right now, he's only what he's played, or he's coming back. He's essentially playing for like what I don't know. He's for 6 months, and then we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah,
Right, because he's playing for another. Essentially, he's playing for another contract.
contract.
Yeah, and when we talk about Carlos Vela, that's kind of like an interesting to say. Carlos Vela is playing for a future contract these next six months. Um, what would you put Carlos Vela's expectations this year? How many goals does Carlos Vela have to score, and how many assists does he have to have?
So he scored 5 goals last season in 20 appearances. Obviously, he got injured, and out of those 20, not all of those were starts. But if he plays 26 games healthy, I'm okay with it. And if he scores 12 goals, I'm okay with it. Expecting 2019 numbers is unfair. There's also a lot more star power or a lot more offensive threats LAFC have, so not all the pressure of scoring goals is going to be on him. But I think he's motivated. He knows that if he does well, the contracts will look nicer. I think he's taken care of his body. He looks a bit stronger and slimmer. So I don't think we'll expect a big injury out of him this season like last season. So yeah, 12 goals, 6, 7 assists. I think that'll be just fine. I think that's an easy number for him to do as well if he stays healthy.
Yeah, yeah. I think I want to go a little higher. I want to say
Yeah.
because of the injuries and all that. I think if he's able to stay healthy, he has Chicho. I think Chicho will carry more of the load on the scoring goals. But I wouldn't say he's Carlos Vela. I gotta throw a bigger number there. I would say 15 or 20 goals and 10 assists. Um, because he is who he is, and if he's gonna play, I would expect him to play 90% of the games. Right, and
Yeah.
if he wants to
Does
get
he play Open Cup though for you?
nah, he doesn't play that. To me, he doesn't
I
play Open Cup unless they need him to play
Yeah,
Open Cup, or unless
the
it makes
semis or
sense.
finals. I think
Yeah,
that's when he
semis or
goes in.
finals, yeah, you
Yeah,
play them, but I don't think. Also, I think we haven't seen the Open Cup schedule. I don't
yeah.
believe. I don't believe it's been out there. But yeah, I just got to go bold because it's Carlos Vela. He wants. Listen to the interview. I think I see a motivated one. I don't
Mhm.
expect him to score 30 something goals, but I don't think 15 and 20 goals is that bad, and 10 assists, around 10 assists is going to be that difficult because he has Chicho uh, on the other side, and I think a lot of those things are very possible. We do got to talk about another player, and he goes by the name of Brian Rodriguez. Brian Rodriguez, obviously, he's had one of the most interesting careers out of all the LAFC players because of everything that's happened. He's been going back and forth, but once he came back last season from America, probably seen the best version of Brian Rodriguez. We got to put a number on him. How many goals and assists from Brian Rodriguez?
I expect him to have the biggest year or the breakout year. He needs it. The team needs it. The fans expect it and deserve it. I'll give him. The problem last season was Rossi wasn't in form. Bella wasn't in form either, and nobody could rack up his assists. But he only scored 4 goals last season, and 2 of those came in El Tráfico. Obviously, he ended the season fine, but I think his assist is going to be high. I'll put at 12 to 15. And then if he gets 10 goals, I think that's a good number for him too, because he needs to produce by scoring goals, not just assists. Those are all nice, but if you're a DP and an attacker in this league, you need to score. So 10 goals, 15. Well, I'll change it to 15 to 18 assists, and that's a good number
Mm,
for him.
I would agree on the goals. I'd say he has to get double digits. I think minimum 10 goals for Brian Rodriguez this season. Obviously, he needs to stay healthy. We know he still has ambitions to go to Europe. The only way I see him going to Europe is he tears it up in MLS. He's yet to do that. We've seen flashes. We have seen the progression, and I definitely agree with you. I think this is the breakout year for Brian Rodriguez. He has enough experience of the league. He understands what his role is with LAFC. He understands Carlos Vela. He's played with Chicho. There should be no reason that Brian Rodriguez doesn't reach 10 goals. I think the assists, yeah, I think 10. I would say 10 to 15 assists as well. he's able to be healthy. You got Carlos Vela and Chicho, who you're essentially gonna be feeding the ball to, and we know those guys can do. But yeah, a big year for me. Brian Rodriguez needs to have a big year, because that's the biggest player that I think that could have the biggest impact on this team and could potentially be somewhat of a sleeper pick for him to have that type of year. Um, we got to talk about the Colombian Chicharrongo. Every LAFC's fan favorite player. He came last year, amazing. I think what did he score? Close to 15
He
goals.
scored
Last season?
14 goals in
14,
17 games. So
14 goals in 17 games.
yeah, almost a goal per game.
Yeah, give me your number. How many goals Chicharrongo?
I don't have the number right here, but a lot of those were penalties. And if Vela stays healthy, I don't know how many of those he's going to shoot.
I think almost half of those are penalties.
Yeah. So if non-penalty goals, if he scores 14 non-penalty goals, I'll be happy. I think Vela will share some penalties with him, so he'll get another 2 or 3 in there. So 17 to 20 goals. I think if Vela and Birod are healthy, not all the responsibility is going to fall on him. And the other teams are going to know he's going to be a threat, which is going to open up spaces for Birod and Vela. So not all the pressure's on him. He can put the pressure on him if he wants to. He's proven it. But I think 17 to 20 goals is a good number, and giving him 5-8 assists is also fair for him.
I like that number.
LFC is going to score a lot. Defensively, we don't know, but they're definitely going to score a lot, and Chicho's going to be part of that. Vela and Birod are going to be parts of that.
Yeah, he averaged what you said, a goal a game. How many goals? How many games is this season? What, 30?
34.
Around 30, 34.
34. So yeah,
they are be bold.
If we double those, it's gonna be 28. So yeah, I don't think he's gonna get there because
I don't think
the league knows him now. Yeah,
I don't think,
but it's gonna be high.
I'm not sure if he's gonna get to 28. I'm gonna say he has to get around 20. Just 20. If he gets 18, 19, I'm not gonna be mad. But 20. But you're right. Last year, half of his goals were penalties. But I think some of those he did create himself as well. But yeah, I would say around 20 goals. If he gets you around 20 goals, I'm with you on the assists, 5 assists. You can't be mad on if Chicharrongo gives you 18, 19 goals this season, because that's what you're expecting from him this year. Francisco's not a fan of Vela taking PKs. He comments Vela sucks at PKs though. I don't know. I don't know. He has missed some, but I wouldn't be upset if Vela is taking those PKs. And look, this is still Vela's team, so I would assume Vela's still going to take these PKs unless Vela's not in the game for whatever reason. But yeah, JP, how excited are you for this Saturday and for the season to finally start?
Very excited. I think it's going to be a lot of good games. I think it's going to be fun soccer, and I'm excited. I think the team has enough talent to really go far. How far? That's up to the players and the coach. But on paper, this team should definitely be competing for the top spots. And for MLS Cup and even Open Cup, that's definitely something that's doable this season. The question mark lies in who the DP is, if the team stays healthy, and what Steve ultimately does under pressure. And I think everything will come out fine. So I think the top 4 finish is reasonable in the deep MLS Cup run. So I'm definitely excited.
Yeah, no, look, I'm excited that soccer's back. It's definitely back. It's back in LA. I like that it was a short off season. We get back into the grind of things. But yeah, look, I think that's all the time we have. I want to thank everybody in the comments for hopping on, chiming in. JP, I want to thank you. If you guys are gonna be at the game Saturday, definitely DM us on LA Soccer Hub. We'll get back to you guys. So maybe we can meet some of you guys. And I appreciate everybody that tuned in. So that's going to wrap it up for today. For JP, this is Gio. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye.